Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and as a spiritual master opened my eyes to the
light of knowledge.
Srila Prabhupada
Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, everyone. It's nice to be back home. Today we're going to be looking at the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, and it's text 18 to 20. Okay, so we're looking at 3 shlokas. All right. And the first one is very popular, or let's say famous, or outstanding. Let's put it that way. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor by Changsi Vaikunta Gunarna Varnane Karo Harer Mandira Marjanadishu Shruting Chakaret Chutta Satkatodaye Mukunda Lingalaya Darshani Drishau Tadbritya Gatra Sparshanga Sangamam Granang Chattatpada Saroja Sorabe Srimatulasya Rasanang Tad Arpite Padau Hare Kshetra Padanusarpane Shiro Rishikesha Padabhivandane Kamang Chadhasye Cha Kama Kamaya Yatotama Shloka Janashraya Ratihi
Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayor
Savai Mana Krishna
Padara Vindayor Vachamsi Vaikuntha Varnane
Karo Hare Mandira Marjanadishu
Karo Hare Mandira Marjanadishu Shruting Chakharya Chuta Satkatodaye Mukunda Lingalaya Darshani Drishao Granam Chatatpada Saroja Sorabe Shimatulasya Rasanam Tad Arpite Padau Hare Kshetra Padanusarpane Shiro Rishikesha Padabhivandane
Kamam Chadashena tu Kam Yaya
Kamam Chadasye Chatut Kama Kamyaya Yaduttama Shloka Janashraya Ratihi
Savai Mana Krishna Padarindayo
Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunarna Varnane Karo Harer Mandira Janadishu Shruting Shruting Chakarachyuta Satkatodaye Lingaya Darshani Drishao Sangamam Rabe Srimad Tulasya Asanantad Arpite Padao Hare Chetra Padanusarpane Shiro Rishikesha Padavivandane Kamancha Dasye Achitamyaya Yatotama Shloka Janashraya Ratihi Saha He Maharaj Ambarish Vai indeed Manaha his mind Krishna Pada Aravinda Yaho fixed upon the two lotus feet of Lord Krishna Vachangsi his words Vaikunta Guna Anuvarnane describing the glories of Krishna Karau his two hands Hare Mandira Marjana Adishu in activities like cleansing the temple of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shrutim, his ear, Chakara, engaged, Achyuta, of or about Krishna who never falls down. Satkata Udaye, in hearing the transcendental narrations. Mukunda Linga Alaya Darshane, in seeing the deity in temples and holy dhamas of Mukunda. Drishau, his two eyes, Tatpritya, of the servants of Krishna, Gatra Sparshe, in touching the bodies, Anga Sangamam, contact of his body, Granam Cha, in his sense of smell, Tatpada, of his lotus feet, Saroja, of the lotus flower, Sorabe, in smelling the fragrance, Srimad Tulasya, of the Tulsi leaves, Rasanam, his tongue, Tat Arpite, in the prasada offered to the Lord, Padau, his two legs, Harehe, of the personality of Godhead, Kshetra, holy places like the temple of Vrindavan and Dwarka, Pada Anusarpani, walking to those places, Shiraha, the head, Rishikesh, of Krishna, the master of the senses, Pada Abhivandane, and offering obeisances to the lotus feet, Kamancha, and his desires, Dasye, in being engaged as a servant, Na, not, to, indeed, Kama Kamyaya, with a desire for sense gratification, Yata, as Uttama Shloka Jana Ashraya, if one takes shelter of a devotee such as Prahlad, Ratihi, attachment, and don't you forget it. Hare Krishna. Okay, translation. Maharaj Ambarish always engaged his mind in We'll do it together. Ambarish always engaged his mind in meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna. His words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples, Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. Engage his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. Engage his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance tulsi offered to the Lord. And he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasad. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord. His head bowing down before the Lord. And all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarish never desired anything. He engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and be completely free from all material desires. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Are your jaws ready to fall off now? Okay. All right. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, or chapter 7, text 1, the Lord recommends Maya Asakta Mana Bharata Yogam Yunjan Vad Ashraya. This indicates that one must execute devotional service under the guidance of a devotee or directly the guidance of the Supreme Personality of God. It is not possible, however, to train oneself without guidance from the spiritual master. Therefore, according to the instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami, the first business of a devotee is to accept a bona fide spiritual master who can train him to engage his various senses in rendering transcendental service to the Lord. The Lord so says in Bhagavad Gita 7:1, Asangshyam samagrang mang yata jinyashi tachrinu. In other words, if one wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead in completeness, one must follow the prescriptions given by and following the footsteps of Maharaj Ambarish. It is said, Rishikesh Sevanam Bhaktir Uchite. Bhakti means to be in the service of the master of the senses, who is called Rishikesh or Achyuta. These words are used in these verses. Achyuta Sat Katodiye Rishikesha Padara Bandane. The words Achyuta and Rishikesh are also used in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna Katha spoken directly by Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam is also Krishna Katha because every thing described in the Bhagavatam is in relation with Krishna. Haribol. Thank you very much. Here comes Sucharya. Hare Krishna. Let's hear it for Sucharya. Okay, great. This is a verse, a shloka, especially the first one, that Prabhupada quotes an awful lot. And especially the first line, sometimes the first two lines, and then mostly the first line. Okay, why is it important? Because we're talking about dealing with the mind. And when you were talking about yoga, any practice of yoga, you're definitely dealing with this thing that we call the mind, mana, isn't it? And what to do about it. Just the other day, I met someone, she came and sat down after we did a presentation. I've been going to some yoga classes, and I've been learning to still my mind, which is, the word she used, which is racy, and it's always constantly racing. Would that be accurate? analysis of the mind. It's all over the place. It's racing, going from here to there. 1 minute it's in this room, next minute it's in the prasadam room, Then it's going to whatever services we're doing, and maybe we're thinking about India, thinking about mom and dad, maybe thinking about my girlfriend, whatever. Hare Krishna. Okay, our mind is all over the place. And what Ambarish had done, and he's exceptional because he's, you can say, a worldly man, meaning he's the man of the world. He's a king, he's a monarch. And even the Bhagavad Gita alludes to the fact that, a man who is prominent in the world is the monarch, Even Ram is affiliated with the monarch. Ram, our dearest Ram. So kings are involved in all kinds of administrative tasks. And one of the reasons I believe that when Prabhupada formed the Governing Body Commission, 1970 in Los Angeles, he had a list of people that were grihastas. And why grihastas and why not sannyasis? Because you are dealing with worldly things. You're dealing with money, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with, family issues and so on like that. And sannyasis were to be spared of that kind of thing. They had already been through that before. And they're entering into a phase where they don't need that anymore. They've done what they could do. They've kind of wrapped it up. My job is over. I'm retired from that. And I'm now starting a new job, right? And the new job is service, detachment, travel around, encourage people that live simple, travel light, all those kind of connotations of what a sannyasi is. And by the way, for women, that's also the case. We don't, men or women, we don't need so many things. You downsize when you get older, It's a beautiful period, aging, because basically your lusts, your passions are somewhat subdued, and now you can think more clearly. You've got a lot of let's say, experience under your belt, which you didn't have before. When we're young, we're passionate, and we need a lot of direction. Now the direction is taken as you age. You've gone a lot of experience, and you just want to settle down. You just want simplicity. Things need to be in order. Things need to be tidy. Don't give me complicated food. Don't give me your oily sabjis and your sharks in there and all that kind of thing. You just want everything that's got to be real simple because you're preparing for the next phase, which is to move on in life, get into the next body, and prepare yourself for the most important thing, the dhyana yoga. Ultimate dhyana yoga means to meditate, right? Dhyana, jhayato vishayam pungsa, etc. Contemplate on the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. Why Krishna? People ask, why Krishna? I get this all the time. Why not Shiva? In fact, when I was in Nunavut, I was explaining my what we promoted was the Tales from Trails, the walking experiences, and then folding in the philosophy. It's a real nice transition for people, especially new people. And then we had one young Indian fellow in the back said, oh, and he starts going, well, Shiva, and Shiva's manifested different expansions of Shiva. And I said, listen, we're here just to talk about some basic things, okay? And please don't go there. I was trying to say it in a nice way. So people ask, why not Shiva? What's happened? What's wrong with Ram? Why is it always Krishna? And that was really where he was going. Why is it Krishna? Because I mentioned Krishna a couple times. And I explained, well, Krishna has given us the philosophy. Nobody else did. None of the other avatars have done that. Nobody has given a book or a conversation so deep that everyone seems to latch onto, as Krishna has, isn't it? Really, Krishna, and Krishna has to be given the credit because long ago It's in chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. Check it out. Check it out right in the beginning. It said, I spoke to the sun god, Vivaswan. And Vivaswan spoke this, my message, to Manu, father of mankind. Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. And Ikshvaku is an amazing ancient king who comes from way, way back. And so Krishna has to be given the credit. So Ambarish in particular, it's Krishna. Look at your verse. I told, it's there. In the script. In the script, the Sanskrit. Okay, I'm sorry, you didn't go here, that's fine. But the verse today is Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo. Okay, what does that mean, Krishna? And what part of Krishna? The pada, the lotus feet. Why that part? That part of the body is not known as to be sexy or anything like that. What part of the body? Why that part? Why there? Yes.
Because it's the best place to be.
Okay. Okay.
It's also because I don't know if that makes sense, but like feet are the lowest part of your body. They're considered
Okay.
not very auspicious, but
Oh, yeah,
Krishna's
thank you.
feet are even auspicious.
Right. It's a humble position, right? We meditate on Krishna's lotus feet. That's the main thing. We can go through everything else. Ambarish Maharaj is a remarkable, let's say, example, role model for all devotees. Because starting with the mind, which is the subtle sense, it's engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna, right? And not any other mention is given of any other god, right? His words are used for
Chanting the glories of Krishna.
chanting, yeah. His tongue is used for that, and glorifying Krishna, and then also, and what about his hands? These things are really important. Cleaning the temple. Okay. Whether you're the official cleaner, you don't have to be Chris. You don't have to be any other people, but you have to be Krishna's devotee. If you notice a little bit untidiness, clean it, right? You know how I am about those things. So the hands are used for that. And then the ears, that's kind of obvious. Yeah. Hearing the form of the Lord, yeah. Hearing about the activities, okay? The Leela, that's very important. That's what they're there for. And if you notice, there's 2 ears and there's 1 mouth. That means we have to spend more time with these 2 guys as opposed to these 2 guys, you know? And the ears are where many things start here. When you're driving a car, there's 2 rear view mirrors, not 1, 2. So you get a very good scope of what's around you and what's behind you, isn't it?
Yes.
So, and they're shaped in such a way, you know? I mean, we're not like bears, we're not like rabbits, or, you know? The other day when I was in Montreal, you were with me, right? We were chanting and we were sitting down on a park bench, and there were lots of, gray squirrels all over the place, because this is their season. It's when all the nuts are available, and they go nuts, getting their nuts. And was it you that was coughing? Okay. The squirrels were just scurrying around, and as soon as whoever was with us went, their tails went up like this. And I thought, is that just one time? So I was checking it out. I let a few seconds pass, and I went, and again, and again a few seconds. It's like a regular thing, so it seems like the tails are the ears. But we have to be very interested in hearing the right things. There was a long time ago, one of my Prithu, and I think you probably remember Sucharya, Prithu and Padyavali, they did a show, the late night show in Ireland, and the devotees were invited to be there. They came in chanting, and then they sat on their seats. Maybe there was half a dozen to a dozen, something like that, sitting on chairs at this, the Johnny Carson show of Ireland, And then they brought in another guest. She was a red-haired lady, and it's a classic piece. What I mean to say, there was a lady there, she finished writing a book, and the book was entitled Good in Bed. Okay, so you can imagine what that's all about. Like, who's good in bed? All the favorite stars and all that. And so she went on to explain what her book is all about, and and of course the audience more or less likes this kind of stuff, So then the moderator says, "So, Prithu, what do you think about all of this?" And he said, "We should not hear these things with our ears." And fortunately, the audience clapped for him.
Oh.
Now that might not happen now, but it did then, And then one of the gentlemen in the audience, he put up his hand. He said, "It should be." He said they should change it. Change the name of the book to what was it, like Dirt in Bed or something like that. Something like that. And then the camera went to the lady, the author, and she turned red like her hair. Okay, so my point is, hearing, you have to be selective about what you hear, right? You have to be very, very selective about it. A lot some of our leaders there in India were very concerned about the kind of music that our young people were listening to. This goes back about 15 years ago. There's a guy called 50 Cents. Have you ever heard of him before?
Yes.
50 Cents, like a rapper, and one parent came to complain about this. My son or my daughter is hearing 50 cents, And then it was quite common amongst the young folks to hear 50 cents and all the swear words and all the dirty innuendos and things like that. So the whole congregation got quite concerned about that, about what their young people are hearing, listening, because everything's quite individualized now, right? When I was a kid growing up, the TV was on, everyone watches the same show. Now everyone's got a TV and you watch what you want to watch, and no one knows what you're watching, and probably you shouldn't be watching a lot of this stuff, right? So that's the way the world is turning. So when it comes to hearing, let's hear the right thing. The right thing is Sanskrit mantras. The right thing is the Maha Mantra. The right thing is Shastra. The right thing is hearing about planning for devotional service. If you have a meeting in Krishna consciousness, it's not a bad thing. If you meet with Vishaka in the office there's going to be a few jokes, and she's going to be like a drama queen for a little bit. You know what I mean? And we all love it. We actually love it. She's a great entertainer. But the discussions will be about the temple and about Krishna consciousness and how to advance the cause and how to advance the mission. So this is good. This is what the ears need to be exposed to. How to plan, and whatever ideas, whatever is a dream or, ideas should then be projected, come out here, and then those persons hear the idea, and then you go back and forth, You listen to each other. You must listen to each other. One secret thing behind, having a good relationship is that, say, between a husband and wife, is that you just listen to each other, And then you can make a decision and then follow through with the decision. Hearing is important. It's very important. So that's one thing. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Never let, there's a saying in the native culture, they say, never let your mouth get in the way of your 2 ears. Please remember that. You might want to write it down. Okay, now, as far as, going somewhere, with your legs, we should be going to places of pilgrimage, Like, say, for instance, we should be going from the ashram and the basement level and making our way upstairs to the temple room at the right time, right? And then once that's done, then you leave the temple room with your legs and you go about your various services throughout the day. So the legs are really, really, really important. And they are the foundation. They are part of humility, and they're also part of getting things going, you know. Now, let's talk about the touch, what Ambarish did. With the sense of touch, what did he do? What did he do? That's right. So devotees get a chance, you get your second diksha to touch the deities of the Lord, you also get a chance to touch all the various things that are used in kirtan, for instance. You get a chance to touch the microphone, which is used in Krishna service. And you also get a chance to touch whether they've got jeans on or not. Okay. All right. Hint, Another one of those. So touching the devotees are very important. And if you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Leelas and the pastimes, there was a lot of hugging going on. It wasn't just obeisances. The other day we did a program in Chatham, Ontario, which is where I was born. I had my little retreat, my little downtime. That's where I came from. And we had a program at a library, and we called it Tales from Trails. Actually, it was called A Monk, a Mantra, and Music, MMM. And, so local people came, and there were some local devotees that came from not so far away. And devotees, you know how devotees are. They come and they just take over like nothing. They're oblivious to everything. It's like obeisances, and it's just, not here, not now. We're just trying to get people to feel comfortable about Krishna consciousness. So, of course, we do obeisances, and that's highly important. And but it might be an idea just to kind of do this sometimes, considering this situation. The Desha Kala Patra, the time, place, and circumstance. Maybe this works a little better in some places, or even shaking hands. And I had one lady yesterday. She said, "Well, what kind of monk are you? Are you the kind of monk that you touch women?" And I said, "Well, I do. I hug." So I hugged her. And some of my god brothers do, but some of them don't. It just depends what kind of person you are. Anyways, you just hug, and then that's it. Let it go. And you forget the person. But that's just to make them feel welcome, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I wouldn't do that for the ladies in the ashram because we have a different understanding. And of course, I do see you as my sister, and I do see you as my granddaughter, right? I'm 73 almost, so I'm grandpa. All right. So touching is important. There's no harm. We should at least be offering respects to each other in the morning when we see each other. And it's not just reserved for the SWAMI that's around, or not just reserved for Prabhupada in the temple room, or not just for a senior Prabhupada disciple. It's this obeisance stuff, it's for everybody who's especially appreciating and understanding what is the culture. Are we okay with that? Even if you're, the only exception for not doing it is if you really have to go. You know what I mean? And you can't just offer obeisances. I really gotta go. All right. Okay. And what about smelling? Smelling the flowers that are offered to the Lord. Smelling the tulsi leaves that are offered to the Lord. That's how the 4 Kumaras became aroused. They were in meditation. They were more into, say, Yuja Mukti, the more, interested in the let's say, the light of the Lord, the aura of God, the Brahmajyoti. But when they were near it, Vishnu himself, there was at his lotus feet were these tulsi leaves, and they were meditating and what is that? And it broke their meditation. And from there, they looked at these feet, these massive, majestic feet, and then their legs. And like in South India, they have these lying deities of Vishnu. You look at it, and there's a head. So it all started with. For some of us, it starts with the tongue. Seva mukha hi jivadao swayameva spuratyada. Right? So all the bodily parts are used. The tongue in tasting the Lord's prasadam, legs in walking to the holy places, and the head in bowing down before the Lord. And as far as all the desires that are also sort of pent up inside, somehow or other channel those desires in Krishna service. Just like the play that we had recently done, Anger, and who got together? Anger and envy? They join hands and use it in a way to defy those who are, like offensive to the Lord. So speak up, protest, say something when it's in opposition to devotional service. So these are some of the practices. This is what's going to get us locked into Krishna, locked into our meditations, for Krishna will come through by these practices of the various senses that we have. And then, we can look and parallel this to the 9 processes of devotional service. The last one being Atmanivedanam, just giving yourself wholly and solely in Krishna service. And, we have done these little workshops with people called the 9 devotions, and we walk them through these 9 devotions. This is again for new people, right? And it's really, really helpful. It really gets people into Krishna consciousness. This can be done in like 2 hours, walking them through devotional service. You get them to offer a prayer, which people don't do, by the way, very often now. Please write a prayer, and you coach them a little bit what kind of a prayer it should be. Don't ask for a new car, in other words, that kind of thing. So at the end, Atmanivedanam. So what I have people do is, it's a devotee crowd, sometimes it's a non-devotional crowd, and we just get everyone to lie down on the floor and totally with their arms to their side and simply relax. Simply let everything go. And then we give them an image to think about. And the image is something like this. Just imagine you are up in the Arctic Circle. You're on an iceberg. And sharing that iceberg is something called a polar bear. Okay? Guess what's likely to happen? He's going to go after you. Yeah. So you just have to let go. You surrender. Let it be.
The bear?
Yeah.
He hates us?
Oh, yeah.
We surrender?
Oh, yeah. There's nothing you can do. Even if you jump in the water, you just have to say, he's coming after me. He's getting me. Okay, Krishna. You have to be thinking about Krishna. That's the point, right? So when we were just in Nunavut, Nityananda knows, there's a sort of a mantra out there, because we were in polar bear territory, right? No trees up there. And there's this thing about bears. It was you who was with me. You were just with me, okay. And about bears, if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lie down. If it's white, good night. There's no way you're going to... Okay, about bears. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lie down. If it's white, good night. We heard about one fellow. He was able to get on the bear's back and hold on to the hair on his back. And the bear couldn't maneuver himself in such a way to get the guy off. So that's one technique you might want to try. But in the end, we are going to be devoured by time itself will be devoured by
But
By
Maharaj,
death.
he will eat us.
Yeah, that's right. But it's okay, but you have to give him a chance because you've been eating prasadam all this time. And if he's eating you, he's taking
But I
prasadam.
offered it to Krishna. He wouldn't offer me.
That's okay, but there's such a thing. There's such a, you have to let him have some prasadam and he'll have a chance to go back home, back to Godhead.
That would be very brutal going back.
So in any case, we went through all the practices that Ambarish was noted for, and we should follow in his footsteps in all the things we do. Look at your senses. Next time you look in the mirror, okay. Use them all in Krishna's service. And of course, we didn't talk about some of the other details, the working senses. We didn't mention all of them. And the that are down at the bottom. But they are also to be used in Krishna's service, like Krishna is saying that, I am kama, which is not contrary to dharma. I am kama, which is not contrary to dharma. Okay, so that means everything has to be used in the Lord's service. Okay, that means people have to be chaste once you make a commitment. Okay. Now, either be chaste or get chaste or chase. But in our tradition, we behave properly. So the ultimate behavior is to use everything in Krishna's service. Prabhus, I know we started a little bit late, and we're finishing a little bit late because it's a long 3 verses, so it took a little extra time. I hope that our guests here are having a good time, and we hope that you will engage your senses in Krishna's service. After this, we will go to the prasadam room, and our legs will be used in Krishna's service. Any questions or comments, like really fast? Yes.
I just had 3 quick points. So in this verse, Maharaj Ambarish's senses were described, and Shrutim, his ear, and Rati, attach. And it just made me think that the queens of Dwarka, they were very attracted to everything about Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
They were even attracted to his ears.
Mm-hmm.
You never hear of anybody saying, well, Prabhu, I married you because you have such nice ears. But Krishna's ears are so attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were mentioning Krishna's lotus feet. And then how Krishna's so humble. He arranged to wash the feet of all the guests for Maharaj Yudhishthira's Rajasuya.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a humble place. And Krishna's lotus feet also, if you go to any temple, the first thing you're offered is Charnamrita, which is the water that bathes him from his feet, and he's offering you to drink the waters from his feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing is the 50 cents. It reminded me of Vancouver, Canada, 1969, when I first met the devotees in downtown Vancouver. And I met Rati and her husband, Rabindranath. Maivati and Rabindranath. And so I was completely amazed. I was 17, it was 1969, and here's these devotees.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, here, buy a magazine. It's only 50 cents. So I bought a magazine for 50 cents, and that was it. Thank you for a wonderful class, for the participation. It was great.
Thank you very much. Yes, I got received a Back to God magazine on Vancouver Island for 25 cents.
Oh, wow.
What a steal.
What year was that?
That was 1972.
Okay.
So you got, in terms of racing, you got there before I did.
No, but you're the senior.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
Maharaj, you said we should be careful about what we hear. You should engage in this, hearing about Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
There might be sometimes circumstances where a person, there might be some criticism, and we are not able to identify the criticism.
Oh, yes.
So how do we identify it, and how do we deal with it?
How to deal with criticism? Well, in many cases, it's a good idea just not to be there. Just skedaddle on out of there and do your services. If there's criticism, and we sometimes do criticize or we have concerns, it should be done in a very proper manner in a place where it may not be an ear's length of others. Of course, some people get emotional and they see something right off the bat and they might want to bring it up, and that's not very appropriate. But that's one way to deal with it. And Jayananda Prabhu, where everyone's heard about, he just not be in that room. He'd just get out, So, how else do I accept it? Well, first of all, let it be known that criticism can be welcomed, if it's done with good intent, constructive criticism, as opposed to destructive criticism. So, if we're sometimes hearing someone's analysis of someone else's performance, or, you're talking about devotees being criticized, perhaps, right? Yeah. So that's always a touchy thing, and if you're mature, you can hear the criticism, but make sure it may not be the truth. But just keep that in mind. We're all in a situation where we may have to sometimes be analytical, and along with an analysis might be some criticism. But you want to bring out the criticism in such a way that maybe there can be some resolve or some clarity. Okay, is that criticism real? Is it truthful? Is it accurate or not? So hopefully the discussion that's going on between two people, maybe it will be cleared up in that case. But it depends on your situation. Say like if you're like a student or a devotee in training and so on, it's probably not a good idea to hear about criticism against, some seniors. Just like a child doesn't want to hear about, a child has reverence for mother and father, right? And you don't want to hear, and sometimes you can't help it, but see mom and dad argue with each other. And in their argument comes out all this negativity. It was, you don't give me enough time, blah, blah, whatever it is, the criticism. And so I think you have to be a little bit ready for that. It's not like you can, squirm away and go in a hole. It needs to be there. And if you're really fortunate, if you're in the right kind of cultural situation, maybe it can be resolved. And if it can be resolved in the end, after some discussion. I was in Jaipur some years ago with Dharma Prana, and there was a husband and wife just going at each other, the place where you're staying. And she just went on and on and on and on like that. I said, when is it going to stop? And I looked at the other members of the family, and they kind of like, it happens. It happens. That's one thing. It happens. We should not be so naive and that these things don't go on. But after she was finished, then she had a good 40 minutes, I'd say, 40 minutes, and he had about 5 minutes. Things got quiet after a while. You get exhausted from criticism, in terms of hearing, hear pure things, and be a little tolerant if it comes up, In the mighty world out there, there's an awful lot of criticism. Everyone's protesting about every old thing, anything. It's very common now. We don't hear much glorification. People are not there to honor anybody practically, or except for Taylor Swift or something like that, or somebody and she's not very much of a Mataji type person. There's a lot of atheists out there. I was thinking about a lot of atheists out there, but they all glorify someone as if they're God or Goddess. And most of them are not very good examples. I think Krishna does a lot better job. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else? Well, yes.
I like the point about greeting each other with warmth in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was living in the ashram, that there was a particular batch of ladies ashram at that time. They were just very interesting people. They would not stand normally at any point. They're always hugging and always even sitting in Bhagavatam classes like this and whatnot. But that did encourage me to wake up early because I will be well received. There is someone to celebrate me
Yeah.
at 5:30 a.m. in the morning.
It was encouraging. Yeah.
It's encouraging, yeah. And it does happen that I don't want to wake up. And if it's a negative environment, you definitely don't want to wake up. But because, my friends are waiting, and the moment I'll be there, they'll hug me and we'll dance together. It's just so nice, and it's a very rare feeling because not everywhere
Yeah.
devotees or in general anyone is celebrated.
Mhm.
Usually people are very negative. So
Thank you very much. It's important. So remember that, like each other. 2 days ago, we were on a walk, right, in Rondo Provincial Park, and we saw these 2 trees. I think we'll put it on reels in the next, you can help me with that. 2 trees. There was somebody engraved a heart on the bark of one of the trees, and they were kind of like this together, and the branches were like going like this to each other. And we thought, this is the way the world should be. We have to like each other. What do you think, love?
Yeah,
Okay. Yes, one more.
Mala, you said something that is aging is beautiful period. I really like that.
What was that?
Aging is beautiful period.
Oh, yeah.
You said all our anathas like lust, greed, anger, everything just calms down, and you can be more simple
Yeah.
and maybe concentrate more on Krishna. But sometimes we see with aged people, they become cranky, they become, a bit like that. So, what is that? Like,
What is
I think we just have to look at Dharma Prana, Dharma Prana is always upbeat and get up, but sometimes they get cranky, if he couldn't get, and, that is part of life, But I think with old people, I heard from someone not so long ago, they said there's 2 kinds of old men. There's the real grumpy ones, and then there are those who are totally cheerful, loving life. So I think we should be the latter. Yeah. It's really important. And, with older folks, just remember they're there. It's superficial not to have older people around. Just like it's superficial not to have kids around. Like I remember Praharna saying, my mother went into a senior's home and she didn't like it at all. She didn't like it at all. I said, why? It's just older people around. It's not natural. I don't know if that was
I was just laughing because of old people around,
Yeah.
said by the old person.
Yeah, so it's natural to have children around. It's natural to have older folks around and people in the middle age, That's natural. That's a family, So this whole idea about, sometimes people need to be put into a home, a senior's home, but maybe it's a good idea to try to keep them as long as you can. Yeah, because they have great stories to tell. And you have a chance to do seva, right? And you're going to be there too. Just remember, all of you, we're all going to be there, and we will need services. Just so comforting to know someone's there. Oh, could you get me that? Or when you get older, you get up. Take your time. I guess I'll get to the door by next year. Maybe 2 years I'll get there. And if you have some help and assistance, it's so gratifying to older people when they have a younger person coming there by their side. Just like, I'm old-fashioned, it's nice for, I think it's a young lady likes it when a guy's there to open the door for them.
Yes, I like it.
That kind of approach. Now when you do it, if you don't, I'm in such, I open the door, like the sort of feminist idea, I can take care of myself. But we're designed to help each other. We're there for that. And kind of like the stronger you are, the more you can do. The weaker you are, the more you need help. And the last thing I say, when I was in Dallas for a meeting, I walked on this trail for a bit, and I could see there were homeless people there. The guy had a frying pan, and he wasn't there, but a tent, and he was living outside. And then I met a cyclist. He said, "Oh yeah, I go to your restaurant all the time." He was a psychologist, and he's actually a social worker. He helps people. And I said, "Well," and I mentioned to him, we have all these people living by the river, the creek, and needing help. And we both kind of, it dawned on us at the same time. Well, the reason why there are some people like that is so that we can serve them.
Mm-hmm.
We can take care of people. Opportunities for service. By the way, just the last thing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What are we saying with that? My dear Krishna, give me some service.
Yes.
So when it comes to you, and I think you confuse Krishna. What, you just asked me for service and now you don't want to do it? Are you okay? All right, Prabhu. Thank you very much.